Today we're going to look at some of the science behind what we do. Today we're going to look at some of the data that we use to compare our predictions to. There's no one better than my partner, Dr. Deborah Kreitzer, in presenting that type of information. So without further ado, take it away, Deb.
Thanks, Don. I've taken the data from 7 well-respected national polls for this year's gubernatorial elections. The polls were conducted between August 9th and the first week of September. I've attempted to display the data in a much more user-friendly chart so that over the course of the next few months, especially as the gubernatorial debates occur, we can see if and how the polling data shifts. So let's begin by taking a look at how the chart is set up. Along the horizontal axis of the chart, I've listed the states using their 2-letter abbreviation. The order of the states will become apparent in the next slide. And along the vertical axis, I've listed the number of polls, and keeping in mind that we took a look at 7 polls in total. As I've mentioned before, we're using data collected from 7 polls. The polls predicted that each gubernatorial race would either be safely Democratic, likely Democratic, leaning Democratic, a toss-up, leaning Republican, likely Republican, safely Republican, and those data will be represented by these colors. So let's first take a look at those states in which the polls predict the Republicans are favored. This data on the chart, let's take a look at 2 of the states. First, on the far left is Alaska. All 7 polls predict that the gubernatorial race in Alaska will be a safe Republican victory. As a second example, let's look in the middle of the chart at Michigan. The polls are currently predicting, 2 of the polls are currently predicting that Michigan will be a likely Republican win, and 4 of the polls suggest that the Michigan voters are leaning Republican. Next, let's lay onto our chart the polling data for the states that are either leaning, likely, or are safely Democratic. As an example here, let's take New York on the far right of the chart. Again, all 7 polls have concluded that New York is a safely Democratic race. 4 columns over is Hawaii, and here 5 of the polls have the Hawaii election leaning Democratic. 1 poll has Hawaii as likely Democratic and 1 as a safe Democratic win. So we've shown the polling data on the Republican side and on the Democratic side. Now let's look at the toss-ups. So at this point, after the first week of September, as you can see from the green on the chart, many of the polls are calling quite a number of the gubernatorial races as a toss-up. So Don, this is the chart that I've put together. I'm looking forward to updating it as new polls come out, and even more so, I'm looking forward to what your predictions are going to be.
Thanks, Deb. I appreciate how you have presented the data. It makes it a whole lot easier for all of us to read what's actually happening out there. So without further ado, let's look at one of the predictions I made just last week. So if we look at the national polling, 4 of the national polls are suggesting that the Massachusetts gubernatorial race is a toss-up. 2 are suggesting that it leans Democratic, and 1 is suggesting likely Democratic. What I am suggesting and predicting is that based on the nonverbal debate performance of the candidates, Deval Patrick will safely win the election in November for the Democratic Party, assuming there is no catastrophic event. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.